What's going on, everyone? On today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about the usage of naughty words and monetization on YouTube. Plus, we got some news, updates, and more. See you in a sec. Alrighty, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Level 1 Podcast. Today is Monday, the 15th of May, 2023, and of course, I'm DSP, and I welcome you here to the show. I hope that you're all doing well as we begin a new streaming week. Well, actually, it's more than halfway through the streaming week for me, but as you know, starting off kind of a new week of school and work for everyone, I'm sure. Good stuff coming today. Great gameplay variety. I'm actually excited that we're flipping the games over, because, after you play one or two games a lot, you want a little bit of a break. And in regards to Zelda, I feel like we're just scraping the surface, and today we're actually going to get into the meat of it. So I'm very excited to be playing Zelda as the main stream. But also today, one important thing, in just a second here, as we start talking about the gaming schedule for the week, you guys are going to be a major part of determining what we play tomorrow. Because I'm going to do a poll overnight where you guys are going to vote on the game for tomorrow. And depending on how you vote will actually determine the order of games that I play both Tuesday and then when I get back from my break on Thursday and Friday. So, yeah, you literally will have the reins this week to, controlling the first early stream. So that's kind of cool. We'll talk about it in a second. Another thing I definitely want to talk about today is monetization on YouTube, how it's changed over the years, and why content creators have had to change their philosophies and strategy when it comes to making content in the last 5 years or so. Particularly, one of the things that I've been trying to do for you guys is make fun YouTube shorts. And I feel like YouTube shorts are a way to highlight funny moments from streams and maybe get someone to check out a playthrough that maybe they wouldn't have previously. For example, I made 2 different Star Wars Jedi Survivor shorts recently that I think highlighted some of the problems with the game and people found them funny. But the problem with YouTube shorts is that they don't allow for any naughty words. I'm serious. If you put a naughty word into a YouTube short, it's instant demonetization, and essentially it gets kicked out of any chance of being featured in the algorithm. So there's no way that you're ever going to get any kind of traction out of the short. This is something that YouTube has dramatically changed from how it used to be. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning because you may have noticed over the last few years, some of your favorite content creators have changed the way that they actually make content. All right? Not me, but most others. I've distinctly noticed this in the last few years. The way that people are talking and acting on YouTube has distinctly changed because people want to make money. And that's kind of interesting because the way we got here is literally the polar opposite. We'll talk about that. Anyway, but also we got an update on some gaming news in regards to the whole Activision Blizzard deal going on. So we'll talk about all that stuff, all right? But I hope you're all having a good Monday morning. And I hope that you're all ready for some fun today. Full gaming. As you can see, Jasper is in the office today. And he will be available to kind of hang out for this stream if he feels like it. It's up to him, So let's see. Right now he's playing with my charge cable for my neck phones, which is fine. He doesn't like do anything. He just boops it around. I just hope he doesn't start chewing wires. That's when we get a problem. But yeah, he'll be available to join us for Zelda today. It is incredibly hot in Washington State today. Yesterday, we hit record highs of 90 degrees. And today, we are slated to be even hotter. It is the hottest it has ever been in recorded history in this state today. Right now, it's around 84 outside, but it's not even full sun. It's supposed to get into the low 90s. So I have all the air conditioners in the house bumping. The house is cool because we got them on early. But you're going to hear it. You can probably hear it now it's actually not on full blast because I had it on for like an hour before I started streaming, so the room is very cool. But as it warms up, you might hear it going on and off. Again, nothing I can really do. I know it's abnormally early for me to be doing this. Normally, I wouldn't have the air conditioner on, hopefully, until like June, July, but there's nothing I can really do about that. The heat has come so early this year. It was actually interesting. I read a news article. Well, a news story, I should say. Not really an article, but a news story from our local news out here that as of, around 10 years ago, only 20% of the homes in Washington State where I live, this is the Pacific Northwest of the United States, this region, only 20%, that's 1/5 of homes, had air conditioning. But we have had such an incremental, exponential increase in heat over the last 10 years that every home that gets built now has air conditioning installed by default. And it's pretty crazy that the climate's changing that fast. But, again, I was house hunting in 2014. And when in 2014 I was told, oh, it's always rainy and cool out here. People complain all the time that it's just this rainy state. And that's why a lot of people don't like being out here. They say they're depressed because the weather is so cool and rainy all the time. And then I moved out here and it was like immediate hot summer, like every year. It was giant hot summer. I was like, people said this didn't exist, but it has. Every year since I lived here, it's like the hot weather followed me from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. So it is what it is, but I'm prepared for it. And I hope that it doesn't hinder the streams too much. I mean, I think you guys are getting used to it now. The air conditioner's kind of been on for about a week, and I think you're getting used to the noise, right? It sucks. I like having fresh air. I like having nice wind blowing in from the window. There's not much I can do about that, okay? That's correct. I caused the climate change. I moved and I brought the climate change with me. That's absolutely correct. It must be all the greenhouse gases coming out of my derriere, of course. Anyway, so where to begin today? Because we have a lot to talk about, all right? Just a quick reminder, ladies and gentlemen, so far this week has gone really well when it comes to progress in all the games I'm playing, chill vibes on the streams, keeping drama out of the streams. Yes, there have been a couple attempts of idiots to try to come in here and derail stuff, and I have handled it, as well as the moderators. I want to say thank you to the moderators who have always also helped with this week. We don't want any bullshit from the outside of this stream coming in. This is a place where we're supposed to focus on positivity and fun with gaming and a good social interaction. I don't care about any of the nonsense, white noise of idiots from outside of here doing stuff. I don't even want to know about it. Last night we had direct derailment. People trying to come in and derail my shit. I said, shut up. We don't care. And I continued on, and we made great progress in the Oblivion Shivering Isles DLC because I was able to stop that and not get derailed. So that was a good thing, and now we're almost done with the DLC. So anyway, let's keep that going. And in addition to that, obviously, I should bring up the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, we have had 8 straight streams this week. That is 8 straight streams where we have hit all of my support goals. That is unprecedented. I don't think we've done that since 2020 and the Vest streak. 8 straight freaking streams. That's nuts, okay? And obviously I want to say thank you to anyone who has hung out, engaged, participated, supported in any way in this streaming week. Obviously this was not something that I was expecting, nor is it something that I'm expecting to continue forever. And at any moment it can end, and that's fine. But it's cool that we're keeping this momentum going. But as you know, I've learned from my mistakes 3 years ago when we first had a streak like this. I made the streams a lot about that. We had a Vest streak counter down there. We're not doing any of that. Because sadly, when this happens and it becomes all about that, that's literally derailing of all the content of the stream. I mean it. Like, what ends up happening is everyone just wants to focus on that and doesn't care about the content of the stream. And that's not what the stream is about. It's not. If this stream I'm doing right now ended up being really slow, that's fine. It's okay. I had a great week so far. It's not the end of the world. The sky isn't falling. And it's not about that. It's not. It's about making fun content, meaningful content for an audience that appreciates the content I put out for them. It's not about making a ton of money every stream. It's ridiculous. Now, if it gets that level of support, I mean, that's outstanding, and I'm incredibly grateful. So thank you to everyone who has been keeping this up. And it's funny because, some people have been saying that, it's all one person. But the funny part is, yesterday we actually hit all of my support goals on the first stream before that particular person even contributed at all or showed up to the stream. They showed up later, and it was like, whoa, we already hit all the goals. So this is awesome. And, this kind of momentum is good. And here's why. We're about to head into a really epic month. I feel like the month of June is going to be very good. Why? Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, all the new game events and releases all coming out at once. You're going to have things like Summer Game Fest, the Microsoft press conference with the Starfield event. There's going to be a Sony event. There's probably going to be Nintendo, and all these games are going to start releasing all their information. And then later on in the month, it's Final Fantasy 16. So there's a lot of huge high-profile things happening in June. To head into a month like that with good momentum is a great thing. Rather than being slow and stagnant, things are actually pretty good on streams right now. When we get to attendance, when we get to engagement, and again, this week's support has been absolutely outstanding. So you keep that momentum going, heading into June, that's great. Now, again, not the end of the world if we don't, but I just want to take the time out to say thank you. You guys have been amazing this week. You absolutely have been. And this is in every regard, too. Even though I say, oh, we're hitting our support goals, and obviously that's mentioning like a tip level. We've had a tremendous amount of memberships, gifted memberships, and even super chats are up this week. Like, everything is up this week for some odd reason. I don't know what prompted it, because I didn't do anything different, but I'm definitely happy and grateful for it. So thank you guys so very much for that. But again, I will reiterate something. That's not what the stream is all about. So if I see people coming in here, okay, and if I see people basically doing things such as completely talking only about that, or even going after and harassing people in the chat who have been supporters this week, I'm not putting up with that. It's not allowed. If I see people bothering people and stuff, it's not going to be allowed. Already, you got to understand, these idiots on the internet make up the biggest stuff. So far, here's what I've heard. You ready? This is a secret plot by all of my detractors. It's all a setup. The entire week of support is a complete setup. It's all fake support. Really. It's all fake. It's an evil plan, get this, between Secret Limited, Keemstar, and others. They're all plotting behind the scenes to give me good support this week and then pull the rug out from under me afterward. And it's all because they're making an in-depth documentary, and they're talking about it every night on Discord. They have this secret Discord group that the detractors are talking on Discord about plotting my downfall and all of this stuff. It's just hilarious. The shit you hear, it's like, what? And the sad fact is, to some extent, you have to believe some of this is probably true. I'm not saying the specifics of people plotting and stuff. I'm just saying there's people who probably actually do this kind of like talking about this shit behind the scenes, and they believe this nonsense. They're nuts. They're fucking nuts. That's how crazy these people are. But to me, I just kind of laugh, and like, whatever. You laugh with it, you're like, dude. And here's the good news. It has nothing to do with my streams, right? Today, we're going to have a great time. We're going to play games. We're going to have fun interactions. We're going to, make progress, have a good time together, and that's what it is all about. It's not about any of the white noise from the outside of the stream. It's funny because people who come here and just chill with me every day have a great time. All the bullshit and drama and nonsense comes from people outside of this stream trying to ride the coattails of what I do on YouTube. And I don't care about them. I don't need to hear about this person's doing this, restreaming this, saying this. Nobody cares. It has nothing to do with me. I'm ignoring it all because that's the best course of action at this point. Like I said earlier this year, I realized pretty much no one on YouTube is interested in giving anyone a fair shake or exposing any kind of truth. What they're into is stirring up drama for personal gain. So I'm not going to be involving myself with any people. Trust me, this month, we've got to really focus on the games I'm playing. We have to get as far into Zelda, Star Wars, and Elden Ring as we can and finish up what we can by the end of the month, because when June hits, I'm going to be so busy with Street Fighter and other games, but a lot of Street Fighter, that's got to be the focus. I don't have time for bullshit. I'm not going to be wasting time on special streams talking about nonsense and addressing bullshit. I don't care. Let them do their own crap outside of the streams. Let them, but someone's trying to talk to you. Someone wants to reach you about this or that. No one gives a fuck. Me, the least. I don't care about any of these people. Leave that shit off the streams. It's against the rules anyway. As you can see, I got it pinned on the stream. No drama from outside the stream. Let's just have a great time here on the streams together and continue forward positively, right? Sound good? All right. So, that being said, let's jump into our usual business, shall we? Let's talk about the schedule, because today's schedule is interesting because we're going to have a poll to determine what we're doing tomorrow. All right, so today it's going to be Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, continuing on. Of course, I almost said Breath of the Wild. Today's stream will be interesting because we're finally going to be able to head into the true open world of the game. I thought we were doing that on Saturday night. Come to find out, there was more tutorial Saturday night. And we ended up doing a tutorial of the Depths, which is this underground world and other things. Finally now, we've hit the open world where we can do whatever we want. And we already have a direction. Like, there's a big tower right in front of us we're going to explore. And this tower is going to allow us to open up parts of the map and everything. So that's all we're going to do today is open world exploration. Likely hitting up a bunch of the challenge temples. Looking for items. Looking for map. And hopefully moving towards one of the optional, or not optional, the main story objectives. I believe there's 4 points on the map that they're telling you to move towards. So I'll try to head in one of those general directions today. Now, how far will we get in 3 hours? I don't know. People are saying this game is 100 hours long. So in 3 hours, you know, you think, wow, well, we'll make progress, but how much progress realistically will we even make? I guess we'll have to see. You know, almost feel like a game this big, it almost feels like everything is just a drop in the bucket. Like, very well today, we might complete 5 temples, get 2 big upgrades, find some optional great weapons and items, and unlock a big part of the map. And it's like, you have completed 1% of the game. Like, right? But I guess we'll see. All right, let's see how it goes. I am excited because, like I said, I'm liking the elements of the game. Although, admittedly, one thing I might do, as we already talked about, I might skip the optional puzzle objectives inside of the temples. I've done 8 temples so far, and every single one I've done the optional objective, and every single one has been a waste of my time. The items in the temples are a joke. Like arrows, or a stamina elixir, of which you already have 2 because you can craft them at any campfire in the game. So why did I bother doing the puzzle, right? So I guess we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it'll be chill, interactive fun. Since it'll be wandering an open world with not really much direction, there'll be ample opportunity for us to relax, to have fun conversation. I want it to be that kind of a stream. And depending on how today goes, it may determine moving forward how often I play Zelda as a daytime stream or not. Because if it does cater itself more to a late night chill stream, then maybe we'll do that with it. You know what I'm saying? I guess we'll have to see. But anyway, let's see how it goes today as the main stream, okay? Then on tonight's late stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it will be the continuation of Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Great playthrough so far. I'm actually glad I'm playing this one because this one I know a lot about from my previous playing of it off YouTube. I've never played this as I've been a YouTuber. It's been that long, so it's been like over 15 years since I played the game. And it's fun because the music remixes are great. The graphics are improved, right? The job system is very fun to jump around in. And because it's an old school RPG, again, there's ample opportunity for us to kind of talk and interact and chill rather than worry too much about being hyper-focused on the game. It's a great playthrough. So I'm looking forward to more tonight. If you like old school RPGs or you just like chill, relaxing fun, I hope to see you on the late stream tonight for Final Fantasy V. Okay? Now, let's talk about tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's main stream is in your hands. And here's why. Right now, I have 3 games that I'm playing. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Elden Ring's Glintstone Magic Run, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. All 3 playthroughs are good in my opinion at this point. Like, we're in good points, they're exciting, interesting. Every time I play them, good advancement. You know, I'm having a good time with it. I don't really mind any of those games tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the power in your hands to determine what game that we play tomorrow. Alright? I'm going to make a poll literally right now live here on DSPGaming. I'm going to head over to the community tab, and I'm going to post up a poll for you guys to vote on what game you want to see tomorrow's main gameplay stream. Now, here's something neat that YouTube has finally done. They instituted a timer for polls, which I can't believe it took them that long. It did take them that long. But now you can actually put a timer on a poll. Alright? So I'm trying to think how you do it. Let me actually refresh, because I haven't refreshed my page in a while. And I want to make sure that all that stuff is there. So if I go over here, here we are. We're on the community tab. Alright. And if I click on text poll, which is what I want to do, a text poll, visibility will be public. Okay. I'm trying this now because it's something new they added. Text poll. Okay. So there's going to be 3 options. So far, I don't see anything about timing. But I think once I get ready to post, that's when you can pick your timing. So, which game should Phil play on the first stream for Tuesday, May 16th. The runners up will be played later on in the week. Good luck. So option number 1 will be Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Option number 2, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And option number 3, Elden Ring, the Glintstone Magic Run. Now, it says post, but there's an arrow, and if I click the arrow, schedule post. Okay, I don't see a way to make the post close. I'm going to post up the poll and see what happens. So I hit post. There it is. So the poll is live. And if I click on edit, no, all I could do is delete. So I think they're full of crap. Because YouTube had claimed you were going to be able to put up a timed post that should expire at a certain time and then go away. That's not available. I just looked. It's not there. So they lied. They claimed this new feature launched, and it's not there. Unless they somehow magically hidden it somewhere else, it's not there. Anyway, so that poll is now live on the community tab of DSPGaming. Please vote. I'm going to have that poll run overnight. And depending on how you guys vote overnight, that'll determine what game we play in the morning. Usually these polls, by the night, the night before, we always kind of know what it's going to be. So I'm curious what you guys are going to vote for. Maybe I'll even check on that by the end of the podcast and see how the voting is going. But again, Zelda, Star Wars, Elden Ring. So please check it out. Please vote. See, if they had allowed for timed polls, then what I could have done is posted that up and had it be so that, it's only live for exactly 24 hours. So the polling would end during tomorrow's podcast, and it's locked in at a finale, and that's it. As of now, these polls are endless. They literally just go on forever, and people can continue to vote on them for years unless you delete the post. So I don't know how they haven't figured out that timing on a post would make any sense. Where is the poll? I'm going to say it one more time. Main channel of DSP Gaming, community tab. There's the post right there. There's the poll. Please vote. Okay? And it's live now. Please vote for it, and let's see what wins. I'm very curious to see what will win and what you guys want to see me play tomorrow. Now, here's how it's going to work. Whatever gets first place is what we're playing tomorrow on the first stream. I'm down for whatever you guys vote for. Whatever comes in second place will be the main stream on Thursday when I get back from my break, because Wednesday is my break off from streaming this week. And then whatever gets third place will be played on Friday. So the order you vote will directly determine the order of games that we play this week. Fair enough? Okay. So that is going to be the main stream tomorrow, is dependent on you. But tomorrow night's late stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time will be the continuation of Oblivion Shivering Isles DLC. We are now at the very end of it. Like, we got to the tippity end of the DLC last night. The last part, and then the game's like, oh, look, here's another leg of the quest. We have to go to another cave you've never been to, probably fight more generic enemies, meet another generic person, charge up a fucking staff, and then get to the end of it. It's like, this DLC has not been good. I'm just going to be very blatantly transparent with my thoughts here. It's just a boring DLC. I think that the Shivering Isles DLC has actually been very poor. It's literally, go here, fight a million generic enemies. Go here, fight a million generic enemies and grab items between them. Go here, fight a million generic enemies. There's been one quest in the entire DLC that was interesting. It was a conspiracy quest where someone thought that someone was trying to conspire against them, and you had to do a few kind of dialogue challenges and things in order to actually, like, figure out the end of the quest and what was really going on. That was interesting. Literally, the entire DLC is go here, fight, go here, fight, go here, fight. Or in my case, since I have no healing items, go here and run past all the enemies. Go here and run past all the enemies. And it really seems to me like this is supposed to be a DLC you're supposed to play after you've beaten the game. People actually explained to me Shivering Isles came out a year after Oblivion had been released. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So it literally is supposed to be you beat the entire game, you've been waiting a year craving for more Oblivion content, and now you get more of the same. I wasn't looking for more of the same. If you take a look at DLCs for games like Fallout or even Skyrim, a lot of that content is just very different from what's the mainline stuff in the game, and that's why I felt it was special and fun. In this case, this DLC is just boring. Is there some interesting writing for Shio-Garath? He's kind of a crazy character. Yeah, and it's all right. But a lot of the stuff is just kind of dark and twisted. Oh, look, we're torturing people. Look, we ripped body parts apart, and you're making a Frankenstein monster gory. I'm like, what is this? Like, this isn't even, like, the spirit of Oblivion, when you really think about it. It's really weird. But now we're at the end, finally. I'm like, all right, we played it. At least now I could say I experienced it. I wasn't too impressed, but we're going to finish it up tomorrow night, and then we're going to move back into the main storyline of Oblivion, which we're actually nearing the end of. So I figure a few more night streams, and we will actually wrap up the Oblivion playthrough, probably a little over 80 hours, which will be a good length. And quite frankly, after playing this game for about 5.5 months, it is around time to start finishing it up so we can do other things. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really expecting to wrap this up sooner rather than later, which is good, because that'll be a night stream opened up to play other stuff, okay? So I'm off on Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to play whatever game got the second place in your poll. Thursday night will be more Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. And then Friday, whatever game came in third place in the poll will play. And then Friday night will be more Oblivion. Saturday is my weekly react day of DSP versus the internet. And so we will chill over on DSP Reacts, and I'll react to your clips. Now, I did things a little differently yesterday, okay? What I've been doing is every Sunday, I post up the threads over on DSP Reacts on which you can nominate clips, all right? So that you can actually get your clips watched on the show. And channel members are competing for a spot to get on the show, while ultra-level members are guaranteed to be on the show. But here's the thing. Every week, I've pretty much been posting up the threads, the community posts, at the same time. So what ends up happening is the same people who are around at that time have been jumping on those threads, posting up, and they've been getting their videos watched every week. While we've had groups of people in Europe, for example, who are asleep at that time, and then by the time they wake up and go to post up, it's too late. They don't get their stuff watched, and they've been kind of disappointed. They're like, man, I'm a member, but I never get my stuff watched. It kind of sucks. So what I ended up doing is mixing it up, and yesterday, immediately after the end of my first stream, around 4 p.m. Pacific time, I posted up the community poll, or the community thread, and people started posting then. It was different people. And I was like, oh, this is good, because now people in Europe had a better opportunity to actually get their stuff watched, and I think they did. I think there's a few Europeans for sure who never had their clips watched who are now going to get their clips watched on this week's show because I mixed up the time. So I think I might do this every week. Like 1 week, maybe I'll do it earlier. 1 week, I'll do it later. I'll do it random, so that way it is still first come, first serve, but it's kind of a random chance. It's not just always the same people every week, all right? So let's see how it works this week. If we get different people's clips who get watched and go from there, but I think, I was listening to feedback, and I hope that this worked out for you guys, okay? So Saturday's React Day. Saturday night, we'll continue on with late-night chill stuff, probably more Final Fantasy. And then Sunday is the big day, ladies and gentlemen, because this coming Sunday, less than a week away, it is DSP's Fight and Feast Marathon event. I am very excited for this event. It is a Street Fighter hype event. I have not consistently played fighting games in a while. The fighting games I've played over the years have literally just been retro games because I felt that, sadly, modern Street Fighter kind of fell off with Street Fighter V. Thing is, I'm a lifelong fan of Street Fighter. I've always had Street Fighter in my life and as a part of my content until Street Fighter V came out. And then that kind of ruined it for me because I hated the game. But Street Fighter 4 was giant. Street Fighter 4, I was playing for like 2 years consistently. I put out so many video series about the game and everything. And Street Fighter 6 is gearing up to be a special, special thing. It looks like there's great content for those who want to play the game offline single player. There's an insane amount of content for those who want to play the game online. There's classic controls, simplified, modernized controls. There's all this stuff to explore, all right? So I'm very excited for Street Fighter 6 coming out on June 2nd. So as a special way to hype up that launch, I'm doing a special marathon on Sunday, May 21st, where we're going to be doing fighting game stuff all day long here on DSPGaming. I'll be playing classic Street Fighter games in the 30th anniversary collection. You guys will be voting on the game and the characters that I'll be using as I do highest level AI challenge runs live on stream. In addition, there's going to be some fun tier maker events where we're going to rank things in the Street Fighter and fighting game universes against each other. That's always a good time. There's going to be food because my wife is going to make several recipes out of the Street Fighter cookbook, and I'm going to have those available to snack on and show you the recipe in the book and kind of explore and live taste test. And if you guys want it, which it seems like you do, I'm also going to set up a 30-man over-the-top rope fantasy battle royale in WWE 2K featuring fighting game characters from Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken, all of which are going to have new game releases this year. So we're going to see what franchise has ultimate supremacy in the ring. All right, so lots of fun stuff. And on top of all of that, already I have something else special planned. So a lot of fun stuff happening on Sunday, May 21st. It'll be a great marathon. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people here. Great opportunity for you to come chill, hang out. And if anyone was thinking of coming and supporting the streams in particular, that day will likely have a lot more people than a standard stream. And so you might want to swing by that day, okay? Now, one other thing that I haven't really addressed, there is an open beta for Street Fighter 6 this weekend, starting on Friday the 19th, running through Sunday the 21st. And you might say, well, Phil, if you're so hyped for Street Fighter 6, why aren't you playing the beta? Well, there's two really honest answers to that. The first answer is because I'm already doing this event. It's already had this planned before they announced the open beta, and this is more important to me because it's going to be a special variety of fun. It's not just the same game all day. So number one, I already want to go through with this event. I've planned it. I think it's going to be great. But number two, the open beta is literally exactly the same as the two betas they've already had last year. They didn't change anything. They've outright said, we haven't tweaked the gameplay. We haven't added any characters. It's exactly the same as you've already played. So I've already played it twice. I'm not interested in seeing the same 8 characters a third time. And by the way, if you didn't know, people hacked the beta on PC since December and have been playing that beta for 5 straight months. Literally, in this open beta, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of try-hard cheaters who've been hardcore playing those 8 characters for the past 5+ months. And all they're going to do is body everyone because they cheated to get unlimited access to this beta they shouldn't have had, and now they're going to be masters of it, just slapping people around. The people who are joining, oh, I can't wait to play Street Fighter 5 for the first time. What the fuck? What the hell's going on? Oh my god, I lost all my health in 10 seconds and the game's over. What? It's just bullshit, you know? And I'm way more interested to try out new characters that we haven't seen before, people haven't had a chance to cheat and master already. And quite frankly, I'm more interested in characters like Zangief, Blanca, Honda, a returning character like DJ, and I wanted to see how he's going to play in this one because he wasn't in Street Fighter 5, or the new characters like Marissa, Lily, Manon, JP. Those are my more interesting characters to me. That's who I want to mess around with. I don't care about the 8 characters I've already played with twice in the beta. So for me, it would be a boring weekend, quite frankly. I'm just going to wait for the game to come out. So that's why I'm not doing the beta this weekend. But hey, all of you who are playing the beta this weekend, enjoy. You want to break from it after playing it for 2 straight days? Come on by the Fight and Feast on Sunday, and let's have a chill time together. Sound good? So, after the Fight and Feast, rest of this month, literally, will be focused on Zelda, Star Wars, Elden Ring, trying to wrap up at least one of those playthroughs, hopefully by the end of the month. Since Zelda's 100 hours, I'm going to say that's probably the one we're not wrapping up. I don't know how long the Star Wars or Elden Ring playthroughs will continue, but what I can tell you is this: once we finish Oblivion, that is going to be a late night stream slot that now we can take one of those games and start playing it at a night stream, or even start rotating. So we'll have even more gameplay of those games in each week, and I am definitely hoping for great progress, and that by the end of this month, we will free up some of these games, so that way when I start playing Street Fighter 6, that can be the main focus, and we can balance that with other stuff after a few days of hardcore practice and kind of getting, you know, immersed in that universe. So let's see what happens. But the rest of this month, I'm hyper-focused on these games and trying to get as far as I can into them. Thank you to everyone who has been enjoying and supporting the content this month. And I hope you're ready for a second half, because now we're actually officially heading into the second half of May. As of today, it's the 15th. So there you go. All right. Very good. All right. I think that's what I had to talk about schedule-wise. So now, a quick update on a news story, and then I would like to talk about the topic I want to talk about today: naughty words on YouTube and how it affects monetization. Okay, because it has affected some things recently, and I'm going to explain how. Well, first of all, the one news story for today is a follow-up on the Activision Blizzard purchase acquisition by Microsoft. So as you know, they have been trying to buy Activision Blizzard for a while. And it's been in court, it's been with these regulatory bodies. And essentially what's happened is, one body, this UK regulatory body, whoever they are, have said they feel that this should not go through because of something about cloud gaming. Now, the funny part about that is cloud gaming is in its infancy. You saw things like Google Stadia attempt cloud gaming and fail miserably. There are instances of people who use cloud gaming, but it's definitely not anything, Headphone users, do you hear that noise? What noise? Nothing. There's no noise. There is literally no noise unless you just hear an air conditioner. So I don't know why some people are bringing it up. You hear anything? Nothing. It's air, right? Okay, thank you. I don't know. People are being stupid. Anyway, so this regulatory body seems to want to hold up this purchase because of cloud gaming. But then when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it and you break it down into their analysis, the things they're saying are preposterous. Like they're saying everyone who is a subscriber of Game Pass is a cloud gamer. What? That's not even true. But that's what their analysis broke down. They're believing that Microsoft has this certain amount of cloud gamers, and because if they buy Activision Blizzard now, somehow this has something to do with holding back cloud gaming. It doesn't even make sense. Like from a business perspective and a technology perspective, the things they're saying make no sound sense. But they're a regulatory body in the UK, and somehow they might actually hold up this purchase, even though they're completely uninformed on the subject. It's pretty hilarious, isn't it? So this morning, the overall European Union, who's basically everyone in Europe except the UK, came out and said, we are stamping the seal of approval on the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard on the premise that any games from Activision Blizzard that are owned by Microsoft, which is all of them, will eventually be available on the cloud, and those cloud versions of the games would be able to be played on other devices, so that it won't lock those games into only Microsoft exclusive consoles and or platforms. So I guess what they're saying is, let's say you put Call of Duty on the cloud, well, eventually you could stream that on a PlayStation. If that ever even happens, because right now, cloud gaming on PlayStation is incredibly basic. You take a look at the games that you could cloud game on PlayStation, and they're few and far between. The ones that you can actually play, they're pixelated. Like, for example, when I was playing Infamous, right? I played cloud gaming Infamous when I had PS Plus Premium last year. You could still play the game, but it definitely had some issues, a little bit of input lag, and some pixelization in the graphics. For the most part, though, I was impressed. I actually thought that it was a pretty good representation of what the game would play like on PS3, except for the graphics. Like, everything else seemed fine and playable. It was just the graphics that were a little annoying because it wasn't as defined or clear as if you were actually playing it physically on your PS3. But outside of that, I thought that it was a pretty good experience. Now, I guess what'll happen is eventually cloud gaming will advance. And if what they're saying is, let's say in 5 years, cloud gaming has gotten to the point where now you can play really great versions, and if anyone actually wants to cloud game Call of Duty or, Overwatch or whatever it may be, they'd be able to do that, and because of that, essentially all of those games that are exclusive because they were bought by Microsoft would be able to be played on other consoles anyway. Therefore, the deal is fine, and the deal should go through. So, the European Union directly addressing cloud gaming, saying, yes, let the deal go through. So now will the UK budge? Or will the UK be obstinate and be like, oh no, we still feel like, even though it seems like they don't even understand the technology because they're so focused on cloud gaming that no one is using. How can you say that everyone who has Xbox Game Pass is a cloud gamer? That's completely false. The vast majority of people are downloading the games onto their consoles and playing locally. They are not cloud gaming these games. Their statistics are completely wrong. So, we'll see what happens, but the good news is, for those who wanting this acquisition to go through, the European Union stamping it okay is a good positive step forward, and a good sign that maybe other regulators will now even start to loosen up and say, okay, maybe we were a little off base, and start to approve it. I don't know. It's just funny, because we started talking about this, 2 years ago? and we're 2 years in, and we're not even any closer to having this thing approved or going through. It's just crazy how the business world works, isn't it? How, like, you could wait years and years and years for progress on something as stupid as, I just want to buy a company. Too bad. Wait 17 years. By the time you buy the company, maybe video games will be obsolete. Like, Jesus. Anyway. There you go. Now, I would like to talk about a topic this morning that has directly affected me and many, many, many other content creators on YouTube. All right. It's actually affected me a lot recently. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about YouTube monetization and how it has changed over the last several years. YouTube keep updating their policy when it comes to monetization. All right. And how this has affected people making content on the site. Okay? Excuse me. Sorry about that. So let me tell you a little story. I've been a YouTuber for 15 years. Back in the day, when you had ads on your videos, it was the Wild West. Anything went. There was no regulation whatsoever. You could literally put out a video of you saying, fart, 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 dick, McFucklefuck. And you could just say it for 10 minutes straight, and you could slap an ad on it, and it's fine. No one cares. Even if it's the most nonsensical garbage, you could make a video and you get ads all over it, and no one would give a shit. Back in the day, we're talking like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. The ads on YouTube were running like the fucking river of milk and honey. The Horn of Plenty was exploding with revenue everywhere. It was insane. You could get ads on anything, and they all paid a ton. To give you some perspective on this, all right? On a new release day, I would go to GameStop and I would buy a new game. I would come home and I would film a video that I called Release Day Unboxing. So this was before I was even like a streamer. And I would just set up a camera, and for 15 minutes, I would say, here's the new game. Let's look at the box. Here's what it says on the back. Let's open it. Open it. Oh, here's the game. If there was a booklet or whatever, we'd look at that. Any packaging. Okay, here's what I'm expecting from the game. All right, guys, let's go play it. 15-minute video. The video would get, let's say, 20 to 30,000 views. Okay? Because back then, I was very popular on YouTube. That video of 20 to 30,000 views would make more money because of ad revenue than the game I bought. You understand? It would pay for the cost of the game. Just the unboxing video. That's how prominent ad revenue was back in the day. It was like sky high. So you could dick around and more than pay for anything you were doing. Remember I used to do DSP Tries It? And I would go get a fast food meal that would cost me like $10, $15, make a video, and the video would make me a ridiculous amount of money. And like, well, Phil, why did you know, that's why I did those series back then, because it was diversification of my content that actually was paying pretty big. Okay? And you know, I will say that persisted probably for a long time, all the way through. Now, what happened was, over the years, a lot of partnership companies and things reduced the amount they were paying. And the reason was that YouTube ad revenue was starting to diminish. Now, that's not because, you know, ads were less profitable. It was because there were more content creators. And with more content creators out there, there was more competition for ads. And it wasn't as many high-paying ads. It was more like, you know, less ads because there were more people demanding the ads. It wasn't as plentiful. So there was situations where people's pay was cut. It happened to me twice when I was partnered with Machinima, where they had direct renegotiations of my contract for less money because ad revenue was reducing on YouTube. There wasn't enough ads to go around, basically, okay? But all the way up until, I would say, early 2017, all right, ad revenue remained at a really great level on YouTube, right, Jasper? You know about this. I told you this story before, right? He's sitting on my lap. Ad revenue remained very, very prevalent on YouTube all the way through early 2017, okay? But then something happened in 2017. Sadly, the days of plenty dried up. Here's what happened, okay? After years and years of unlimited ads and basically YouTube putting ads on everything, advertisers started to actually study what they were getting out of YouTube advertisements. And what they started to find was alarming to them. They were investing these large budgets into YouTube advertising, and they were finding that their ads were becoming increasingly less and less effective. The reason being was that YouTube had absolutely no control over where the ads went. So let's say, for example, you run Starbucks' marketing campaigns, and you decide you're going to buy $1 million ad campaign on YouTube for a new Starbucks drink that's coming out this week. So you just say, here, you guys, please put these ads on your videos and let's get our product out there. So, you know, these ads run, and then you come to find out they didn't really have any impact on your product. No one really ran out and bought the new drink. I wonder why. So they started doing market research, come to find out these ads would just go on any video. You know, some kid looking at a camera going, 2 views, gets the fucking Starbucks ad, right? Or even worse than that, ads that were completely irrelevant. Imagine you're a life insurance company, okay? And you're trying to sell life insurance to adults, and your ads get put on a PewDiePie video where, you know, he's playing a game and screaming at it. Well, how many people watching the PewDiePie videos, him screaming at a game, are going to think about buying life insurance today? Probably not a lot. So the problem was that it wasn't targeted advertising. Instead, it was just advertising thrown against a wall and hope that some of it sticks and someone sees it who's pertinent, but it wasn't effective advertising. Now, the thing that really, the straw that broke the camel's back, as they would say, is that basically they did even further research and found out that their brands were now being advertised and represented on kind of videos that they didn't want their ads on. So, for example, they started finding racist content, okay? Almost content borderlining on outright terrorism, all right? People saying they hate a certain group of people and that they should be, you know, hurt and stuff like that. They found these videos on YouTube and found their ads were being run on those videos. I mean, one of the infamous videos is, I brought up PewDiePie. This one, I feel PewDiePie really got railroaded for no reason, okay? He's in a video and he says the N-word. Now, I don't know the context because I wasn't paying attention. I don't believe there's any context that he should have used that word, all right? I just don't believe he should have used it at all. But this became like the poster example of here's a big YouTuber using a bad word they shouldn't use. And by the way, his content was fully monetized. So this was the excuse where companies like Walmart, Starbucks, all these giant companies spending millions of dollars on YouTube advertisements said, we don't want to do this now. Because look what the content that you're putting our ads on. You're misrepresenting our companies and what we stand for. We don't want this. And they all pulled their ads. So this happened within like a week's time in early 2017. Ad revenue on YouTube went from usual levels to literally less than half of what you were making. So you'd be putting out a video that's monetized on YouTube. It gets the same amount of views you usually get. And you made less than half as much money. And you're like, what just happened? And within a week, everyone started panicking. That's what was called the YouTube adpocalypse, when all these big advertisers put their heads together and started talking collectively and said, we're not getting what we want out of the ads. The ads aren't going to the appropriate parties because there's no way on YouTube to control where ads go. And on top of that, the ads are going on completely inappropriate content that we don't stand for, so we don't want to deal with this anymore, and we're all pulling our ads. Okay? So, that's pretty messed up because it hurt everyone. It wasn't like, oh, this is 1 or 2 people affected. This literally hurt everyone on YouTube who was making a living. And overnight, people had to reassess what they were going to do. Some companies went completely out of business. Some people had said, well, I used to be able to focus just on YouTube content, but I can't do that anymore. Now I have to diversify. I have to focus on streaming. I have to focus on sponsorships. I have to focus on content for my Patreon because now I can't just make videos and make a living anymore because the ad revenue has less than half, okay? I was one of those people. I was about to go out of business. I couldn't afford anything. And then I decided to become a full-time streamer. And it's incidentally, it was during the Zelda Breath of the Wild playthrough. I know today I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, but it was during that Breath of the Wild playthrough where I had to basically adapt and say, I'm going to become a full-time streamer now and see if this will work. And the good news is it did. Because here I am 6 years later, still making a living, still going strong. But for every one of me, there was probably 20 people who basically had to quit content creation when the ads dried up. It's pretty messed up. Okay, it is. It's a pretty messed up situation. Meanwhile, the biggest YouTubers were never really affected. The biggest YouTubers were able to roll on because they were already rolling in dough, and they found other opportunities, whether it was sponsorships or whatever, so they kept going. And if you haven't noticed, it's become way more prevalent in the last 5 to 6 years that the big content creators get all these opportunities. product placement, get a game in advance, get shipped out to a special PR event, because this is now how they're making their living. It's not just about pumping out the videos anymore. It's about having all these other promotional opportunities. But another pattern you may have noticed in the last several years particularly, all right, is basically because YouTube has now instituted changes to the way that they monetize content, okay? It used to be any video on the planet could get an ad. Doesn't even matter what content it is, the length, whatever you're doing, whatever, it all gets ads. But after the adpocalypse, what YouTube had to do is they had to make several changes. One of the changes they did was that both the content creator and the company buying the ads have control over what kind of ads will run on certain content. Right now, I can actually go into an AdSense account that I have, and I can say, I would like only these particular kind of ads and not these. You have the ability to at least try to block certain ads. Like, let's say, for example, you were a staunch Democrat, and you absolutely positively did not want any kind of conservative or Republican ads on your videos. You should have the ability to turn them off. Of course, you might lose a lot of ad revenue doing that, but you should have the ability to turn off those kind of political ads, okay? Now, for the most part, no one does this. For the most part, everyone just likes everything just roll, okay? But there are some people who have that control and they do execute it, and good on them. You should have the ability to control the advertisements on your content. Now, on the flip side of that, when an advertiser now buys an ad space on YouTube, say, I'm going to spend $1 million campaign, right? What they then do is they have all these criteria they now have to check off, right? What kind of content are you interested in advertising on? What about content that's geared towards adults only? What about content that's geared towards teens? What about content that's sports? What about content that's games? What about content? So you can pick these categories now where you want your ads to actually be shown. So now, ultimately, the advertiser has power, which they never had before, which is why the adpocalypse happened to begin with, okay? But another thing that has happened in the last few years is language, okay? And this has been such a gray area on YouTube and such an issue of contention for a lot of content creators. Because if you're a content creator that is not creating for children, and you speak your mind and you use profanity in what you're saying, all right, chances are, if you use a lot of profanity, your content is not eligible for monetization on YouTube anymore, all right? You know, there's content out there that used to be able to, I'm going to do a review, but I'm going to use the F-bomb a few times. Well, if you use it too many times, your video will get demonetized. If you say a racially charged joke, if you say a joke that has anything to do with gender, if you have a joke that anything could be, anything political, you might get demonetized just for saying that particular thing. Whether or not it even is offensive to anyone, they could demonetize it anyway, all right? In particular, they've changed their rules in the last year to say if you have a video that either in the title of the video, so you say, oh, DSP swears and says the F-bomb, right? That's the title of the video. Just saying it like that might get demonetized. Seriously, even if you don't say the word fuck, you might still get demonetized for just having that in the title, okay? And then in addition to that, in the first few minutes of any video, if you drop an F-bomb, if you say like shit in the first few minutes of a video, YouTube will auto-detect that and demonetize the video. You could have a 5-hour-long video, and as soon as you click record, you're like, oh, shit, my microphone's screwed up. Can you guys hear me? Oops, you said shit in the first few seconds. Whole 5 hours demonetized. Yeah, that's how YouTube is running things now. In addition, hot topics. For example, things like sexual abuse, trafficking, any kind of like sexualized content in general seems to have been a red flag on YouTube, where when you say those things, you get demonetized, okay? So you might have noticed in the last few years, certain bigger content creators who used to say things such as, oh my God, sex scandal, now say spicy scandal. They literally won't say the word sex anymore. Like, the word is banned from YouTube because they're so afraid of saying it that they're going to get demonetized. I've actually seen gamers doing playthroughs, and if it says fuck, or if it says, ass, or if it says shit, they literally put another word in there. They do. They'll say another word. I'm like, you can't just say what it said in the game? No, they actually edit. They censor themselves in what they're saying in the hopes that their video won't get demonetized if they have a swear word in there. Now, you may have noticed in my content, this has not really affected anything. I've pretty much stayed true to who I am. If I'm going to swear, I'm going to swear. And that's just who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am after 15 years to try to get more monetization on my videos. But there's many different reasons for that, okay? Reason number one, I am prolific. I put out a lot of content. In a week's time, I have 6 straight days of full-time gaming and streaming. I'm putting out tons of videos. Even if a third of my videos get demonetized this week, I still got a lot more. Plus, I have a 15-year body of work, out of which, arguably 13 years of which are monetized. So, at every single day, I'm not kidding you, videos on DSPGaming, as well as my other archive channels or whatever, they all get demonetized on a daily basis. This algorithm is constantly running, finding naughty words it doesn't like, and demonetizing videos. So I would argue that probably if you said I uploaded 80, 90,000 videos in 15 years, probably, I'm not kidding, half of those are probably demonetized by now. I'm serious. But at the same time, when you have so much content out there, it's not that big of a deal. If I was someone who put out one video a day, or even worse, one of these content creators who only does curated, edited content, like what if you're only putting out one video a week and it's a really long edited video, and now immediately you upload it demonetized because you swore in it? You just wasted a week's worth of your time and hard work. How are you supposed to make a living, right? So the good news is, for my formula, being a prolific content creator, constantly pumping out content, it doesn't really affect me. But for other people, it could massively affect them, which is why you may have noticed bleeping of words, changing of words, saying things in a weird and different way that doesn't even sound right. That's because they're trying to protect their content. I can't really blame anyone for doing that. I completely understand and empathize with these people, because if you're working your ass off to put out something meaningful for an audience and you're trying to make a living doing it, and then to be told after the fact, oh, because you said a naughty potty mouth word, you can never make any money on this video. Like, what the heck? That is insane. At least, here's the funny part about it that I think. How much content on this planet is considered for adults but monetized? Are you telling me there's no TV-14, TVM, rated R movies that make money? Really? You don't think there's any of that? You don't think there's an audience for that? I mean, obviously there is. And the thing that gets me is that there very well might be advertisers on YouTube that are totally okay with swears in content, as long as it's not over the top, let's say, vulgar, insulting, disgusting, as long as it's in good faith, in good jest. Maybe a reviewer who's a little angry says the F-bomb a few times or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's advertisers who'd be okay with that. But it sure seems to me YouTube just doesn't really care, because these criteria are across the board. There is an algorithm running that auto-detects these things in a video, and when it does, you just get demonetized, regardless of if even you flagged your video and said, hey, I want my video to be adults only. YouTube doesn't really care. They'll still demonetize your video anyway, okay? Now, where this really affects me recently is YouTube Shorts, because YouTube Shorts, all right, at most are allowed to be a minute long. Now, I want you to think about this criteria. YouTube is saying within the first few minutes of any video, you can't swear. If you swear within the first few minutes of any video you upload, instant demonetization, okay? But wait a minute. YouTube Shorts are only a minute long. So if I swear in a YouTube Short, that's definitely within the first few minutes of the video. There's only a minute of the video. So guess what? This blanket thing that should really only be applied to long-form content is applied to YouTube Shorts. So if you're making a YouTube Short and you swear in it, you are immediately demonetized. And on top of that, when you get demonetized, you also get kicked out of the algorithm. So a YouTube Short that may be a great piece of work that's entertaining, but it has shit in it, literally will never get seen by the masses on YouTube. It immediately just, you might as well have not have made it unless you only care about your hardcore audience seeing it. All right? Now let's be honest. In the case of making a YouTube Short, you're probably doing it to try to get your channel to get exposure, right? Your core audience already knows about the content you're putting out. When you're doing a YouTube Short, you're trying to do a small digestible clip of something that maybe someone who doesn't know who you are would eventually see in the algorithm and say, oh, that's interesting, I like that, I'll go check out the channel. But if you're immediately getting demonetized and essentially kicked out of any search algorithm because you swore in a short, you might as well have never made the short. All right? So, case in point. The other day I'm playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on launch day. And people said, oh, here's some good examples of shorts that you should do. I couldn't do any of them. All right? I actually had 3 different ideas for shorts. And every single one that I came up with, I swore in the clip. The best one, actually, was me having the metal bird. When you're up in the Sky Islands, there's a metal bird. You stand on it, and you glide off this ledge, and you start flying on it, essentially. What I didn't realize is that the metal bird is timed and will completely disappear for no good reason after a certain amount of time. It starts blinking, and then poof, and then you fall and die. And I was like, well, that's definitely a thing you wouldn't know. It's a beginner's trap. That's a classic case of a beginner's trap. Why would you have thought that a piece of metal you're gliding on just would disappear from existence? It doesn't make sense. It's just something you need to know. So, as I'm doing it, I'm enjoying myself. And I'm like, wow, look at all this. And all of a sudden, it starts blinking. I say, wait a minute. Why is it blinking? Uh-oh. And then it disappears. And I go, oh, shit. As I careen and then turn into a flattened Link pancake. It's really funny. It was probably the best part of the entire run so far of Zelda, because it was just a wow, like a moment you wouldn't have predicted. Who would have known it would have happened? And then it happened. It was funny. My reaction's funny. And so, go to do the short, can't make it. Why? Because I yelled shit. And if you mute it, it's literally just muted for a good 5 to 10 seconds as I'm falling, and it sounds terrible. So either I leave shit in, and now no one will see the short besides a very small amount of viewers of my core audience, who already likely have seen the video and already know about this moment, or I mute it, and it sounds absolutely terrible, and it's not funny anymore. So essentially what YouTube is doing with this censorship is they're ruining content. They are making it so that content that normally would have been funny or honest or wow, here's a honest moment of how to react to something, becomes junk. And you can never highlight it as a YouTube short. What ends up happening is YouTube shorts end up having to be like almost like what's the word? Sterilized content, right? Like YouTube shorts can't have anything to do risque, can't have anything. Even, for example, when I was playing Callisto Protocol, all right? So in Callisto Protocol, obviously, as you know, it's a survival horror game. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of gory animations and things in it. There was one case where I actually got kind of like cornered by a bunch of enemies, and they all came after me, and I didn't realize this, and they just it was a funny moment, because I was like, oh no, and my reaction is funny. I didn't swear, but the video got demonetized anyway. Why? Violence. Violence. It's a fucking survival horror game. Of course there's violence, and there's an audience for that. So as long as I'm tagging it properly and saying Callisto Protocol, and they know it's a survival horror game, why can't I have a short of Callisto Protocol? No, it's too violent. So no one can ever do a short of Callisto Protocol? Because what else is there of value in the game? The fucking main character picking his nose in the prison? Oh, look, there's no violence in this. Look, you got a big goober. Like, what are you talking about? And that's what I mean. Like, again, with YouTube, they're always, to the extreme. First, when they started with the ads, it was the land of milk and plenty. Everything overpays an insane amount. Give ads to every person on the planet. I don't even care what content you're putting out. Make a video that's racist, sexist, terrorist, and we'll monetize it, and you can make money and make a living on YouTube. But then that blows up in their face, and within a few years, the door has to swing the other way to the extreme. Now you can't swear, you can't talk about gender, you can't talk about race, you can't talk about politics, you can't talk about this and this and that. What the fuck? So you went from one extreme to the other. How about the happy medium where everyone can meet where reality is? Because that's the problem in life. You can't have it all the way one way or all the way the other way. The reality is that we have to find a medium place to meet and have things that make sense. What YouTube has done doesn't make sense. You're telling me the only shorts I can put out are these really crappy, boring ones where I can't even say a swear word ever. Like, what the hell is that? You know? And it's weird because this also happens with culture, all right? In culture, you have these time periods where things will swing one way, swing the other way, swing one way. When I started on YouTube, You could say whatever the hell you wanted. In fact, it was actually encouraged that you would be extreme and say ridiculous things that were over the top. That's what would get you attention on YouTube. To say something really insulting, to say something really inflammatory. That's the kind of commentary I was doing in my early days on YouTube, because that's what got you, noticed, right? And then all of a sudden, culture changes. Well, now that's all offensive content, Like, well, wait a minute. Well, I was doing it for 3-4 years there because people liked it. Oh, that was offensive. You're a horrible person for doing it. But during the time, everyone got the joke and said it wasn't offensive. Well, now it is. Oh, okay. So now we got to change, right? And that's what happens, is these things change from time to time. They swing back and forth. I want to know when we're going to get to the level where people can, like, be smart and not have to go all the way one way or all the way the other, but actually just kind of be real, but not extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm playing Zelda and a funny thing happens, I should be able to swear, and I should still be able to make money on the video where I swear. Now, if you don't want to see that kind of content, you should have the ability to filter it out, and that's fine. But why are you telling me that I can't be myself, right? Now, there's a difference between being yourself and being purposefully offensive, correct? And obviously, I don't want to be purposefully offensive either, just to get popular. People do that. They'll go on YouTube and they'll go over the top ridiculous one way or the other to try to get that viewership and to try to get that crazy amount of polarizing attention. But, I just want to be real. And you tell me I have to censor myself in order to try to make a living on YouTube? I don't feel that's fair, all right? And I know, saying that, a lot of people will be like, well, what do you think about the people who say fucked up stuff about you? Well, you know what? As long as what they're saying isn't incredibly harmful, they should be able to say it. You should be able to criticize. You should be able to insult. You should, all right? But not to the point where it gets downright slanderously harmful or so defamatory that you now make someone actually not be able to have a living because you made so many people hate them because you lied about them. That's a little different, you understand? But freedom of speech goes both ways. And yeah, people should be able to swear. People should be able to talk about these risque topics if they want, as long as the content is flagged appropriately and the advertisers can choose whether or not they choose to advertise on said content. I do not believe there should be a blanket law on YouTube saying, oh, you swore in the first 30 seconds of your video. You can never make money on that video ever. What? What? How does that even make sense? Right? Or you can literally never have a YouTube short with a swear in it. It'll never be seen by anyone. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Again, you know what that's like? You're in class. Imagine you're back in elementary school. All right? So you're sitting there in elementary school, right? And the teacher's back is turned against the wall. And some kid who's an asshole decides he's going to take a rubber band and he's going to pull this back and he's going to snap the rubber band at the teacher's head. Now, everyone sees it happening, all right? And he goes, snap, and he hits the teacher in the back of the head. And the teacher turns around infuriated and says, the entire class gets detention. Huh? Why? Because I'm the teacher and you abused me. Entire class gets detention. But we didn't do it. Too bad. Group punishment. Everyone gets detention. Right? Like, what? That's essentially what YouTube is doing. Are there people who have done bad things on YouTube and likely should either be demonetized or have their content monitored for monetization? Yes. Does that mean the entire site should be punished for the work of a few people who have been bad apples? No. But that's how YouTube operates. It's either all or nothing. It's extreme this way or extreme that way. And that's really what I don't understand. You're punishing everyone for the acts of a few small bad actors, and now everyone had to change in 2017. It's a pretty bad situation that's been going on for years and years, and sadly, I hate to say it, it's just getting worse. It seems like now you do have to kind of walk on eggshells. Like I said, for me, here's the good news. I don't care. I'm not making the vast majority of my income on ad revenue. So if half my videos a day get demonetized, it's definitely not the end of the world for me. But for those who depend on that revenue to make a living, take a look at some of these documentarians. Someone like June the King, someone like Frederick Knudsen. These videos that we've watched, that if they can't make ad revenue on those videos, they're absolutely missing out. You know, they're absolutely losing a lot of income because that's a lot of time and work. What about Angry Joe, who works his ass off to make a high-end, skit-filled, effect-filled, scripted review? Listen, personally, I didn't find the reviews that I've seen of his funny. That doesn't mean I don't respect the guy for the amount of work ethic he has and the content that he puts out. That's not fair that his video should be demonetized because he swore in it. That's insane. That's ridiculous, you know? So I'm with these people who sadly are being affected by this nonsense. This should not be happening at all. And I actually feel like YouTube sadly is, you know, slowly but surely kind of going into this, well, we don't care about the personal touch of anything, you know. We're just going to make these giant sweeping automated changes and you just deal with it. And that's sad. You know, so many things on YouTube are abused on a daily basis. I mean, particularly with me, copyright recently. Blatantly false copyright claims hitting the channel. They were outright fake. You could tell they were outright fake claims that were not real. And YouTube didn't care. That's just sad. Because people could have entire livelihoods ruined by broken automated systems, you know. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Because I know for a fact people were like, gee, why did Phil not make any YouTube shorts of Zelda so far? I had multiple ones in mind, and I can't make them. It's stupid. I would love to have a couple YouTube shorts on here, but they have swears in them. Like, I can't even do that, right? It's dumb. And by the way, I will say this because now Dave Baxter is saying something stupid. He's saying PewDiePie ruined YouTube. PewDiePie did not ruin YouTube, all right? That's stupid to say. Now, was he kind of irresponsible in what he was doing in his video? Yeah, he was. Or stream. I don't even know what it was at this point. But yes, it was irresponsible to do what he did. But here's the thing. Everyone makes mistakes, all right? And everyone has the right to atone for them, right? And I don't think that that's something that PewDiePie has continued to do. If he made one slip or one mistake, he has the right to do that and then apologize for it and come back. That doesn't mean that the entire site should be changed because of it. You understand? And really, he was made the scapegoat. In that situation, when the demonetization happened in 2017, a lot of people pointed the finger at him, saying, oh, well, you were the face of YouTube gaming, and you did that. And by the way, he lost a lot. Did you know he lost his entire YouTube gaming sponsorship? He had, excuse me, not YouTube gaming, YouTube Red. He had back then, YouTube Premium was called YouTube Red. He had these shows that he had actually made for YouTube Red that they canceled. He had them completely filmed and in post-production, and YouTube just said, well, you said the N-word. Canceled it all. He had a contract with Disney. Canceled. Because he made one mistake. That's messed up. Like, really. And again, you shouldn't have everyone punished because one person made one mistake. Right? That's insanity. Like, what is this world we're living in? You know? God forbid that you act like a human and you do something stupid once. You know? And the thing is, thank God PewDiePie's big enough. It didn't matter, right? He's so big. He still retained an audience. He's still filthy rich to this day. It doesn't matter. But the problem is everyone else suffered because he was a human and made a mistake. That is so dumb, man. I just hate that whole idea, that whole system. But anyway, now I digress. That was a long time to talk about that, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about it. Let you know I have plans. I think I would love to put out new shorts for you every day. Funny stuff. I have funny stuff for Zelda. I can't even do it. My hands are tied because of the way YouTube works. Like, I can't even put out this short. It's not going to work for YouTube because YouTube is so dumb with the way that they're operating, right? Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that little segment. And now let's move on to shoutouts, all right? We start off with Jeremy Kyle, who re-upped his membership for 8 months this morning. I said, no Zelda spoilers for me. I'm going to stay for the podcast and enjoy. No problem. If you're someone who's actively playing Tears of the Kingdom and you don't want to be spoiled on Zelda, I completely understand. Keep in mind, most people are way ahead of me. I've only played 7 hours since the game released on Friday. You guys are likely way ahead of me. Today is literally my first step into the real open world, while everyone else has been playing this all weekend. So likely you're all behind me, all right? Or you're all ahead of me. I'm way behind all of you is what I meant to say. So I don't think there would be many spoilers for most people, but understood. You don't want spoilers? Hopefully you'll come back for the other content, okay? Now, on the tip side of things, let's get started. First of all, this morning, there was a $20 tip from Game Trekker, and he's actually talking about Tears of the Kingdom. So let's actually get Game Trekker on the leaderboard. Let's see what he has to say. Because usually we hear from Game Checker when it comes to my React content, but it seems like he wants to speak about my Tears of the Kingdom run so far. Why is this not typing? There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's get a nice animation for Game Checker. There we go. All right, let's see what Game Checker has to say. I hope that Tears of the Kingdom is treating you well. I would love to be attending your streams of it, but besides the fact that my schedule still doesn't really allow for me to watch live at all, I've been spending pretty much all my free time playing this game myself. It's pretty darn good. Here's some support for your playthrough, which I will eventually watch on demand. Actually, just now I've watched part 1. I want to share a couple tips. First of all, did you find out that you can swap X and B? So, essentially what he's saying is, dodge would now be B, and jump, no, and then, I'm trying to think what I use X for. I don't even remember what X does in the game at this point. But no, wait a minute. X is basically what B should be. Right, because I was saying, oh, in Elden Ring, you could use this button to do this, and in this game, it's different, right? So, okay. I figured you could change it, but the thing is, I'm trying to use the default scheme. If I'm actually going to play the game and give it a fair shake, I should be playing what's the default layout, so I'm going to stick with that. He says, I found out the game was not going to force me to get used to jumping with X. Right, because jumping is X, which is a weird button for it. The top button is the jump. Like, that's so odd. All right, second, something the game takes ages to properly explain is how to throw a material, which is especially useful for using bright bloom scenes underground. You use right bumper and then up on the D-pad. R will normally let Link throw his weapon, but while up on the D-pad, you can grab a material instead. So what you're saying, Game Checker, is, for example, when I was in a dark cave, and I was using the bright bloom, and I was using arrow, I didn't have to waste an arrow. What you're saying is I could have just thrown the bright bloom. Fair enough. I'll have to remember that when we get to darker areas. Right now, I'm going to try to stay on the overworld today, I think, if I can. But I guess I will have to think about that and try to remember that, because obviously I don't want to be wasting arrows if I don't have to. So thank you for that tip. Thank you for the monetary tip, and thank you for the gameplay tip. Thank you for both, Game Checker. Okay. Now let's continue on. Let's see what we got here today. So, I got a $1 tip from an anonymous tipper. Oh, no, it's not. It's from Hotel Dude. He says, I'm here. I have a small contribution today. Let's keep the hype and streak alive. You keep spitting truth. Enjoy your Zelda streams. Thank you so very much to Hotel Dude for a $1 tip. I appreciate that. All right. I got another. Let's see here. Here it is. All right. So, I received a $50 tip from Jinx. Thank you so much to Jinx for an early large tip. Let's get that going. Let's get him up on the leaderboard. Now, just keep in mind that this is all an evil conspiracy, that Jinx is actually a supervillain who's working in cahoots with the League of Super Detractors, and they're working behind the scenes on several different downfall attempts, as well as evil documentaries with several other heinous individuals. And they talk on their secret Discord every night about this and laugh intently about how they're going to orchestrate my downfall. Every day this happens, apparently, according to certain people. So there you go. Oh, by the way, Jinx is also Only Iced Coffee, but Jinx is also Planet Jeff at the same time, which is interesting. But they're also orchestrating my downfall. I just thought you guys should know that. The nonsense that I hear every day is great. Anyway, thank you, Jinx, for a $50 tip. Let's see what Jinx has to say. He says, I'm excited. No, he says, let's kick off the stream right. Excited for Zelda. And I got to say, these people are getting desperate. I don't know why I don't believe that you would actually have real supporters that love your content. No problem, Jinx. And again, by the way, you're the same person. You understand that, right? Like, there's only one person who is contributing all this time. It's a single person contributing. So Jinx is Planet Jeff, is Only Iced Coffee, is Vidar Viking. Remember him? They're all the same. Oh, by the way, Swaggins used to contribute, so you also must be Swaggins. Okay? and Game Trekker. You're all the same person. I don't know if you realize this. You ever see that movie, starring, whoa, God, what was his name? The guy from, I can't remember his name. Oh, John Cusack. You ever seen the movie where John Cusack is interacting with all these people at a hotel, but you come to find out that it's all just personalities in a crazy guy's head? So apparently you are the crazy guy who has like 14 different personalities. So you come to the stream and you contribute under different identity. Oh, that's the name of it, is identity? Oh, you are the different identities of the same person, but you tip and you contribute under different names. That's what this is. It's not different people. It's all the same person constantly. So we got to clear the air there. Okay. Let's continue. All right. See, I agree. Someone just sent me $1. It says, you judge PewDiePie for his past, but he matured like yourself. I guess you didn't listen to what I actually said. You actually did not listen to a word I just said, did you? I said, I feel that PewDiePie should not be the scapegoat. He should not be held accountable for the downfall of YouTube gaming and the demonetization of YouTube. Everyone makes mistakes. And just because he made one like that doesn't mean that everyone else should have suffered and then he should have been the target. I actually completely... I'm doing what you're not saying. I'm defending him because I think it's bullshit that he did get the flack that he did at that time. All right? I think it's really messed up, you know? And he got all these shows that he lost and everything on top of that. He lost a Disney contract. It's like, it's dumb. So I'm sorry. I'm the opposite of what you just said, actually. Okay. Let's see here. So, from Boy, B-O-I, Boy, they did a $6.66 tip, okay? Boy. My flaming booty. Good Lord, give me a bucket of ice or something. Actually, I don't know if ice would work. Maybe a bucket of water. Or maybe a fire extinguisher. Or maybe just some, I don't know, some Tums or something. But anyway, it says, do you think the God of War series is over now, or will it continue? Are you crazy? There is absolutely, positively no way God of War is over. It is absolutely continuing. The last 2 games were insane bestsellers. There's no way they'll end it there. The story's not done, right? We still got a ways to go in the story. Even though the story of the Norse gods is done, I guarantee you it will continue. You know, Atreus is going to go off and have his own plot, and then you're going to have Kratos possibly. I would say they're going to do one of 2 things. They're either going to split it, and so Atreus will have his own games while Kratos will have his games continuing. Or you're going to have a split plot line in the next one where they go on their own adventures, but then they end up intersecting later on or something like that. I could definitely see that happening, okay? What is it, Jasper Kitty? What is it? You're staring at me. What is it? Okay. I believe I received another tip. Hold on. I just have to check because there were some troll tips mixed in here today that I'm ignoring. Yep. It's just nonsense. Ignore the nonsense. Okay. Jasper Kitty, you must come off me now. You're being silly. Ugh. Okay. Good stuff. Jade says, I vote for Elden Ring or Zelda, but I love Star Wars. All bugs, we get him sick. He loves Star Wars except for the bugs. I see what you're saying. You know what, Jade, thank you for reminding me. Shall we check on the poll and see how it's doing? So that poll now has been running for about an hour, right? Well, let's see. Let's see how it's going here. Audio object, you've now been timed out twice. If you bring up drama one more time, I will permanently ban you from the chat. I'm trying to be nice, but that's twice in a fucking row in the stream that you derailed it with drama, which it says right there in the pinned comment. So if you're that dumb, I can't help you. You're going to be out of here. Okay? All right. What an idiot. Okay. How's the poll doing? With 261 votes so far, here's how the poll is going. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 52% of the vote. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, 30% of the vote. And the Elden Ring Glintstone Magic Run, 18% of the vote. So right now, Zelda is far in the lead, which is fine, because today, like I said, we're doing open world exploration. Maybe by the end of today's stream, we can maybe get on track for one of the major things coming up, which I'm assuming is a dungeon. They said there's 4 of them, correct? So maybe today, we can do a lot of exploration, and maybe by tomorrow, we can actually get to a major dungeon and try out one of the new ones and see what they're like in this game, because I have no clue what they're like. We'll see. But anyway, this is very early. This is only 1 hour the poll's been running. Please vote if you haven't. Head to the main channel page here of DSPGaming, the community tab. Only 261 votes. Way more opportunity for people to vote over the course of the next 24 hours. So, well, I guess 23 hours now. So please vote, and we'll see how it goes. It sucks there was no way for me to set that for time. You know, they said that you could do timed polls, but the option's not on there. So I don't know where we're supposed to do it. Okay, hold on one second here. Okay, I don't know what that even is, so I'm just gonna ignore that. Kozo says that I called my mom yesterday. Yes, I did. I called my mother. We had an in-depth discussion about all kinds of stuff going on with her and me. You know, nothing too particular would be interesting to you guys. You know, she thought she was actually outside with my dad doing the garden work, because she said that it had been ridiculously hot in Connecticut. Or they already had like summer weather, like 90-degree humid weather, which you shouldn't have this early in the year, but they already had it. So she's like, she was out there trying to basically make it as if it were midsummer planting and stuff, which is weird to be doing in May. Yeah, she's doing like garden work and stuff like that. And, you know, and nothing too interesting, nothing too crazy going on. You know, wished her a happy Mother's Day. She had gotten the card I'd sent. Thankfully, I sent it like 2 weeks ago, and she got it in time, because the USPS, which is the United States Postal Service, is atrociously bad these days. Like, literally terrible. Where you could take weeks and weeks and weeks to just get stuff that normally you should be getting within like a few days. But luckily she got the card. She actually loved the card because I wrote a nice message in there for her. You know, it was a fun conversation. What are you going to do? Nothing too special. There's nothing to really talk about that you guys be interested in. So, no, my parents don't watch my content. They are not interested in gaming at all. They never have been. So they have zero interest in any of my content that I put out. Zero. Lipsian says, in my opinion, you should get as far as possible in Zelda as you can before Final Fantasy 16. You know that's going to be a long, drawn-out game as well. Yeah. No, Ellipsian, I've already been saying this. Being that this game supposedly is 100 hours long, I am worrying about the playthrough already. And we're only 7 hours in today. And today we're going to be 10 hours in. Because this game is going to take so long to get through. And we already have other lengthy games I'm juggling. And now there's more lengthy games coming up. And I'll be honest, I do think more people will want to see me play Final Fantasy 16 versus Zelda. I do feel that. So, once we get to Final Fantasy 16, this game might be forgotten. And most people might even be burnt out and not care about it, you know? Right now, I'm interested in it. We just started it. It's exciting. But I don't know how long that's going to be retained. That whole feeling of, you know, oh, it's a new game feel. Once you get to hour 50, you start to lose that. You know what I'm saying? I say start to, but really, in reality, it's kind of like, damn, this playthrough's still going. This is the point I was making yesterday. A lot of people criticize me in the comments. This is only something a content creator feels. Fair enough, but I'm trying to give you my perspective. I'm trying to make content entertaining for an audience. How do I make a playthrough on hour 72 entertaining when it's just more of the same in hour 72? And there's other hot games coming out that people would prepare to see more, or prefer to see more, I meant to say, excuse me. It's going to be tough. I'm going to do my best to make the most of it and enjoy it as much as I can. But there's no guarantees here. You know what I mean? That people are going to like this game enough that they're going to want to see a 100-hour playthrough, right? Inara says, the game has 139 side quests and 152 shrines. I'm definitely skipping the optional chests in these dungeons from now on. I'm not wasting a single moment on them, because I gotta make progress every time I play this game, right? Yeesh. Okay. Expand Dog says, maybe as you grow older, it's time to pick and choose your battles, even more than you already do, because I feel every day it's rush, rush, rush. We're on hour 50. People say it's 120 hours. I agree with you. Expand Dog, I actually agree with you. As ridiculous as your name is, you have a very, very, very valid point. Where when I'm playing a game that I know is going to be an insane undertaking, it has to basically be like the only game like that I'm playing. Because there's no way you can juggle 300-hour games and expect you're going to retain an audience. And especially as I'm getting older, right? People are going to want more variety. Like, for example, I definitely think that people will be very interested in how I cover Street Fighter 6, right? That's going to be a focus. All of a sudden, all the focus on these 100-hour games is going to go away, and people aren't going to really be asking for that anymore. So, I need to be more selective. The problem is, for the longest time, I made my name on being the guy to play every big game, every big release, and people want to see my take on all these games. Already this year, I've skipped a bunch, and people give me shit every game I skip. But it's like, dude, I can't clone myself. I can't make myself play 17 games at once and expect to get any progress in any of them, right? And then, if I drop a game, oh, you see, Phil quit this one, quit that one, he's such a quitter these days. It's like, so if I don't play games, I get yelled at for not playing them. But if I play them and I can't finish them because there's other stuff going on and I quit, then I get yelled at for not finishing. But then if I continue to play the game, the playthrough's too long and it's boring, why don't I drop it and move on to the hot new game? So, you did it wrong, or you did it wrong. You understand? You can't please everyone all the time. And that's the thing I need to do as I get older now, is find a way to balance my content out a bit more so that it's not all the same stuff, but at the same time, I'm at least playing the games that I think I'll find the most entertaining and will be most entertaining to my audience. And that's hard. That's very difficult because I have a variety audience. It's not one group of people watching everything. It's a wide variety of people who come by when they see stuff they like. There's people who are only coming by for Elden Ring. There's people who right now are coming just to watch Zelda. There's people who only do late night chill streams. And then I'm sure there's going to be people coming back and say, wow, he's playing Street Fighter 6. I can't wait to see that. These are all different groups of people that watch my content at different times. It's not just the same group here every day. That's a big difference between me and a lot of other content creators. So it gets tough to kind of find a way to please everybody, you know. It is. It's very challenging. It's a daunting task. Okay, guys. That was a good podcast. I want to say thank you for watching the show. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope that, you got something out of it. Please vote. Please vote on what you want to see this week. Your votes will directly influence the order that I play the games this week. And I'm excited. Right now, about 250 people voted, but I'm sure we're going to get way more than that over the course of today. And determine what we'll play tomorrow. But thank you for that. Thanks for chilling. Thanks to those who have supported the stream so far. Thank you to the secret shadow community of detractors, hell-bent on my downfall. It's always good to hear updates on them every day. And just thanks in general. All right, let's end the show for now so we can jump into Zelda. But happy spring, everyone. I hope you're keeping cool, staying safe, and keeping those allergies in check. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot.